Okay, let's just be real for a second. If you've clicked on this video, you're probably going through something really tough right now. Maybe you just got the news. Maybe you saw it coming. Either way, your heart is probably racing and your mind is all over the place. And I just want to say, I see you. This is hard, like genuinely one of the hardest things you'll go through. But you're here, which means you're looking for answers, and that's exactly what we're going to get you. Right now, your brain is probably firing off a million questions at once, right? What happens to my mortgage payments? Am I entitled to anything? How long do I have? Can they even do this? What did I do wrong? And that last one? Let me stop you right there. This isn't about what you did wrong, but I know that uncertainty is eating you alive. So here's the deal. In the next 10 minutes, we're going to turn all that confusion into clarity. Let's do this. First thing first, we need to understand what redundancy actually means legally, because this one piece of knowledge changes everything. Here it is, and I need you to really hear this. Redundancy is about the job disappearing, not about you as a person. The role you were hired to do is no longer needed by the business. That's it. It's a business decision about the position itself. This has absolutely nothing to do with whether you were good at your job, whether people liked you, or how hard you worked. Let me say that louder for anyone who needs to hear it. You are not being made redundant because you failed. The job is going away. You could literally be the best employee they've ever had, and if they don't need that role anymore, you can still be made redundant. Now, why is this distinction so important? Because if your employer says redundancy, but then turns around and hires someone else to do basically your job under a different title, that's not redundancy. That's them playing games, and you have rights when that happens. Before we go further, we need to check something crucial. Have you been working there for at least 2 continuous years as an actual employee? Not a contractor, not self-employed, an employee with a proper employment contract. If the answer is yes, brilliant. You've just unlocked a ton of legal protections. You're entitled to statutory redundancy pay, a proper consultation process, and the right to challenge if things aren't fair. If you haven't hit 2 years yet, I'm sorry, but your legal protections are really limited. It's harsh, but that's the law. So what actually happens from the moment they tell you to the day you leave? Understanding this timeline is how you'll know if they're doing this properly. It starts with an announcement that your role is at risk. This is just a proposal, nothing's final. Then comes the consultation period, which is legally required. After that, they go through a selection process if multiple people are affected. And finally, they give you formal notice and your employment ends. Now, each of these stages has rules they need to follow. And that's where a lot of employers mess up and hope you won't notice. Let's talk about consultation, because this word gets thrown around a lot, but most people don't know what it really means. Real consultation isn't your boss reading from a script for 5 minutes and asking if you have questions. That's a box-ticking exercise. Genuine consultation means they sit down with you properly, explain in detail why this is happening, and actually listen to what you have to say. You can suggest alternatives. Could you move to another department? Could the role be changed instead of eliminated? They have to seriously consider your input. You can bring a colleague or union rep with you. This is your right. If they're choosing between multiple people, like there are 5 people in your team, but they only need to let 2 go, the selection criteria becomes everything. And here's the rule. It has to be objective and measurable. Things like skills, qualifications, attendance records, formal performance reviews. What it can't be is subjective opinions like cultural fit or who your manager personally prefers. And it absolutely cannot be discriminatory. If you're being selected because of your age, because you're pregnant, because you asked for flexible hours, because of your race or gender, that's not redundancy. That's discrimination wearing a redundancy mask. So here are the warning signs something dodgy is happening. 1. The consultation feels like a done deal and your input clearly doesn't matter. 2. The selection criteria are super vague or seem designed to target specific people. 3. They're making your role redundant, but you've heard they're hiring for something that sounds suspiciously similar. 4. Everything feels rushed, like they want you gone before you can get advice. If your gut is telling you something's wrong, don't ignore it. Get advice fast. Most genuine redundancies are exactly what they claim to be, but some aren't. Right, let's talk money, because this is what's keeping you up at night. You need to know exactly what you're entitled to so you can plan. Here's what you need to understand. Your final payment isn't just one number. It's made up of several different parts, and each one has different rules. You need to see this all broken down clearly in writing. If they just give you one lump sum with no explanation, push back. You're entitled to know exactly what you're being paid for. So what's actually in that final payment? First, statutory redundancy pay. That's the legal minimum if you've been there 2 years or more. Second, check your contract, because some companies offer enhanced redundancy packages that are more generous than the legal minimum. Third, notice pay, whether you work it or they pay you instead. Fourth, all your unused holiday days get paid out. And fifth, any wages, expenses, or commission you're still owed. All of these should be listed separately on your payslip. If something's missing, question it immediately. Don't assume they got it right. How do they calculate that statutory redundancy pay? It's based on your age and how long you've worked there. For each full year you worked between ages 22 and 41, you get 1 week's pay. For each year you worked when you were 41 or older, you get 1.5 weeks' pay. Your length of service is capped at 20 years maximum, so the most anyone can get is 30 weeks' pay. That's if you've been there 20 years and you're over 41. The system basically rewards loyalty and recognizes it's harder to find new work as you get older. But here's the catch that surprises people. When the law says a week's pay, there's a cap on that amount. Right now, it's £700 per week, so even if you actually earn £1,500 per week, they'll only count $700 for the statutory calculation. This is just for the legal minimum, though. If your contract offers enhanced redundancy, that might not have the same cap. Check your paperwork. But for statutory pay, it's £700 max. I'm telling you this now so you're not shocked when you see the final number. Okay, here's some actually good news. The first £30,000 of your redundancy payment is completely tax-free. That's your statutory pay plus any extra contractual pay combined. Now, this doesn't apply to your notice pay or holiday pay. Those get taxed normally. But your actual redundancy payment, first £30,000, is yours, no tax. If you're getting £25,000, you keep it all. If you're getting £40,000, you'll pay tax on the £10,000 over the threshold. Make sure your employer applies this correctly. So, what if something about all this feels wrong? What if the consultation was a joke, or the selection seems personal, or you're pretty sure they're breaking rules? Here's what you need to know. You don't have to accept this. You have the right to challenge this. I know it's intimidating. I know you might think, I just want this over with. But if there's genuine unfairness happening, staying quiet doesn't protect you, it only protects them. And here's the thing, if your challenge has merit, they might settle. They might find you another role. They might increase your payout, but only if you speak up. What can you actually challenge on? Main reasons: 1, it's not a real redundancy, the role isn't actually disappearing. 2, unfair selection, the criteria were discriminatory or designed to target you. 3, straight-up discrimination based on age, gender, pregnancy, race, disability. 4, no proper consultation, they didn't genuinely listen or consider alternatives. 5, they never offered you suitable roles that exist in the company. If any of these apply to you, you might have grounds for an unfair dismissal claim. Don't just assume you have no options. So what's the actual process? First, appeal internally. Most companies have an appeals process. Put your concerns in writing, clearly and professionally. If that doesn't work, you go through ACAS for early conciliation. This is actually required before you can go to tribunal. ACAS will try to help you settle without going to court. And if that fails, there's the employment tribunal option. But please get proper legal advice before going this route. Talk to your union if you have one. Citizens Advice has free guidance. Some employment lawyers offer free initial consultations. Don't be afraid to use these systems. They exist to protect you. Quick one for anyone who's part of a bigger redundancy situation. If your employer is making 20 or more people redundant at once, there are stricter consultation rules. They have to consult collectively, not just individually. They have to notify the government. If they fail to follow these rules properly, a tribunal can award something called a protective award, up to 90 days of full pay for every affected employee. Yes, 90 days. That could be thousands of pounds. So if you're part of a large layoff and the process felt rushed, this is absolutely worth investigating. Right, let's shift gears. Whether you challenge this or accept it, you've got practical things to do right now. Action 1. Demand a written breakdown of your redundancy calculation. You're entitled to this. Action 2. Check your final payslip like a hawk. Make sure every penny is there. Action 3. Sit down tonight and work out your essential monthly expenses. What's the minimum you need to survive? How long will your redundancy pay cover that? And Action 4. Update your CV and LinkedIn today. Not next week, today. Even just a rough version. You need to start moving forward. On that document review, pull out your employment contract and read the redundancy clause properly. Are you entitled to more than the statutory minimum? Check your notice period terms. Then get your final payslip and go through it line by line. Does the redundancy payment match what you calculated? Is the tax treatment correct? Have they paid all your unused holiday? If something doesn't add up, query it immediately. You have a limited window to challenge payroll errors, and they happen more often than you'd think. I know looking at your finances right now is scary, but burying your head doesn't help. Work out your absolute essential monthly costs: mortgage, bills, food, transport. That's your survival number. Then see how long your redundancy pay covers it. That's your runway. Next, check what benefits you might qualify for. The Turn to Us calculator is great for this. Even if you've never claimed benefits before, you might be entitled now. And if you have debts, contact your lenders today. Many have hardship programs that can give you breathing room. Your job search needs to start now, not when you feel ready. Update your CV with your recent work and achievements. Get someone to review it. Then update your LinkedIn. Change your headline. Turn on Open to Work. Start engaging with posts. I know this feels vulnerable. I know you might feel embarrassed. But redundancy is so common now that most people have experienced it or know someone who has. They're not judging you. They want to help. Your network is one of your most powerful tools, but only if you use it. Reach out to old colleagues. Tell people what's happened. You'll be surprised by the support. So, here we are. In 10 minutes, you've learned more about redundancy than most people know in their entire careers. You know your rights, you know the process, you know what you're entitled to, you know how to spot unfairness, and you know the practical steps to take. But here's the thing, as horrible as this moment feels, it's also the start of something new. I'm not going to tell you it's a blessing in disguise, because it's not. You didn't choose this. But a door has closed, which means somewhere there's one about to open. The question isn't just, what job will I get next? It's bigger. It's, what do I actually want from my work? Maybe you've been on autopilot for years. Maybe there's something you've always been curious about but never had the courage to try. This push might be the universe giving you permission to take a risk. I'm not saying ignore the bills, they're real, but as you apply for jobs, think about what you really want, not what you should do, what will make you feel like your work matters. You're rebuilding anyway. You might as well build something you'll love. You're holding the pen for the next chapter. Make it count.